Hi, my loves, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Candice, and I am a trauma and mindset coach, and I'm on a mission to help you create secure relationships with yourself and with others without spending years in therapy. So, if that sounds like something you're into, hit the subscribe button because there is so much incredible content on its way to you. Now, today's video is all about anxious attachment style, and this is a topic that I specialize in and I have done now for many years. I have worked with tons and tons of clients to take them from anxious to secure attachment in a short amount of time using my signature method. And I also used to have a very severe anxious attachment style myself. So trust me, there is no judgment here. I have literally been there, done it, and got the t-shirt. So let's dive in. Okay, so in this video, we are exploring the signs and the symptoms of anxious attachment style and the solutions of anxious attachment style so that you can start transforming your relationships and having the relationships that you deserve. And I will be giving practical solutions as to things that you can actually start doing now that will help you. So do stick around. Okay, so quick question. Have you ever panicked when someone took maybe more than 2 minutes to text you back? And if so, you are in the right place and no judgment here. Trust me, I get it. So let's go further. What is anxious attachment style? So, anxious attachment style is one of four main attachment styles from attachment theory, which is basically like a fancy way of understanding how we bond with others in our relationships. Mainly in romantic relationships, but actually, anxious attachment style and attachment styles impact all of our relationships, even platonic ones, and our relationship with ourselves, most importantly. So think of it as like the Hogwarts sorting hat from Harry Potter, but for your love life and for your relationships. Only instead of Gryffindor or Slytherin, you're sorted into labels like anxious, avoidant, secure, or disorganized, fearful, avoidant. This one has two names that it goes by, which is disorganized or fearful avoidant, depending on what you call it. Um, and spoiler alert, the hat doesn't always sort us into the secure attachment style, which is the ideal attachment style because it's secure. And the other three that I named are insecure attachment styles. So, anxious attachment style is an insecure attachment style, avoidant is an insecure attachment style, and disorganized, fearful avoidant is also a insecure attachment style. So let's speak more about anxious attachment style. So anxious attachment style is rooted in the fear of abandonment and rejection. So this creates like an intense need in you for closeness and reassurance from outside of you, from that validation from other people. And if you have an anxious attachment style, you might feel like your emotional stability depends on other people in your relationships. For instance, their actions really impact you and your moods. It can have the ability to throw your whole day off. You know, you could be having the best time, you could be at an event, for instance, but if something happens, it can really change your mood and your emotions and your stability. It's all dependent on another person rather than yourself. So, if this sounds familiar, don't worry. You're not broken or doomed. Anxious attachment style stems from childhood experiences, but it's something that you can overcome. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So, let's talk about the signs of anxious attachment style. Here is a quick checklist. Feel free to mentally check them off as they apply to you. So, do you overthink every text you send, like you're proofreading it 10 times and before you hit send. And then as soon as you hit send, you immediately regret hitting send because you maybe use one too many emojis or you put one too many kisses, and now you're thinking, oh my God, maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I should, or maybe it seems like this, or maybe it seems like that, and what are they going to think? And that is how you overthink things. Or perhaps you ask your friends a lot of times. I used to do this. um is this message okay? Are you sure? Should I put a kiss? Should I not put a kiss? Should I put this emoji? Should I not put this emoji? What do you think? How does it sound? What are they going to think from it? So that is number one, and don't worry, I've totally been there. Then the next one is, do you constantly need reassurance in your relationships? Like, you need to hear like I love you 5 times a day to feel okay, maybe even 10. And at the same time, you notice anytime they don't say it. Like, you need it. Like, if at the end of the phone, if for whatever reason they didn't say I love you notice it. You really, really notice it. And instead of thinking, oh, it might just been a mistake or something, it really bothers you. It triggers you, and it kind of has you panicking and wondering why. Like, why didn't they say it? Are they mad at me? What did I do? That is one of them. Then the next one would be, do you feel uneasy when your partner is distant or maybe takes some time for themselves, for like, just they might have other friends, other hobbies that they just want to go and do, other things that don't include you, and it kind of feels like a rejection to you, even though it isn't. And logically you do want them to have time to themselves. You logically do. You want them to have time with you want them to have friendships and relationships with their siblings or whoever it is. You want them to go and do other things. That you're happy for them, but for whatever reason, it's like this feeling inside of you that just feels rejected. It feels left out. It feels like anxious, that you feel really uncomfortable and really uneasy with it because it's not including you. And then the last one here, although there are more symptoms, is, do you replay interactions in your head looking for signs that someone might be losing interest, that maybe that maybe you have done something wrong, and that then maybe they will leave you, for instance. So, maybe again, it goes back to like looking for clues in text messages or things they said or things they didn't say, and you're replaying that over and over again, like looking for, what does that mean? How making up stories in your mind of what could be happening and what they might be thinking, and all of these things. So if you're nodding along, know that you're not alone. These behaviors are common among people with anxious attachment style, and they stem from a very human need for connection and security. But here is the thing. These behaviors can sometimes push people away, which is the exact opposite of what you want and what you deserve. And that's why understanding your attachment style is so, so important. So, where does it come from? Where does your anxious attachment style come from? So anxious attachment style develops in childhood. So, for instance, if your caregivers were inconsistent, maybe they were loving and attentive sometimes, but distant or unavailable other times for an array of different reasons, it might have left you feeling unsure about whether love and support were guaranteed. Now, this would have been subconsciously. You wouldn't necessarily, you know, it's some people definitely know exactly where it's come from or can definitely identify it. But I've worked with loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of clients who had very happy childhoods. They have parents that are together, and it wasn't so obvious as to where it came from until we worked together, and then, or they went through my programs, and they were able to um, recognize what the root cause was. So it's not always that common, but it might not be something you've consciously realized, but subconsciously, if you have an anxious attachment style, it will be there somewhere, and I promise that, and it always is. But it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means by recognizing the root cause, it really helps you to reprogram that root cause and then see where everything is stemming from and change that for yourself. So basically your brain went, subconsciously, your brain went, we better stay on high alert just in case. And boom, anxious attachment style was created. And just know this can happen when you are very young. And actually, your subconscious mind and your subconscious beliefs are created between the ages of 0 and 7. So lots of times this can be things you're not even aware of, you haven't even remembered. So and it can be things that maybe didn't feel that impactful, but it subconsciously it's printed that there for you, and it's created that little alarm system. And it's like your brain has installed a faulty alarm system that keeps like going off even when there's no danger. So even when things are good and you are getting the relationships you crave and you deserve, it can still go off and cause you to self-sabotage. And I know this is crazy, but it's because it just doesn't realize your nervous system is in survival mode and it thinks there's a threat when there isn't a threat. And that's why it's really important that you reprogram it so that you can feel secure in your mind and your body so that it doesn't cause you to sabotage a relationship because it's seeing it as a past threat from the past. Um, so here's the good news. This isn't permanent. Understanding where these patterns come from is your first step to changing them. And now that we've covered what like anxious attachment style is and where it comes from, let's talk a little bit about what you can do about it. And healing is absolutely possible. It takes work. It takes work. It does. It definitely does. But it is so worth it, and you are so worth it, and it is so possible because the same way that everything you've learned to become anxious attachment style is just learned behavior, it's just beliefs that you've created over repetition, habits that have been imprinted on you, is the same way that you can reprogram yourself, new habits, new ways of thinking, new beliefs. It's exactly the same way. It can be reprogrammed, but it does take work to do that. So, the first thing I would say, the first solution for you is practice self awareness. Lots of people don't even realize they have an anxious attachment style until they see content and or they see things on it and then they realize, and I know for me, and this is why I do what I do, I had no idea I had an anxious attachment style. It took me years and years and years and many painful mistakes to realize I had an anxious attachment style. And then as soon as I realized it, it was like the penny dropped. It all made perfect sense. And then finally, it meant that I could do something about it. So, practice self awareness. Notice when your attachment style is showing up in all areas of your life. And your relationship with yourself is very important. And it will be showing, that harsh inner critic, that is your anxious attachment style, that a people pleasing tendency inside of you in your relationships, that's your anxious attachment style. That need to kind of blame yourself for everything and fear that you are the one at blame always, that's your anxious attachment style. There's so many different ways that it shows up. So it's really important that you educate yourself on all the different symptoms and ways that anxious attachment style can be showing up. And there's going to be lots of ways that you probably won't even realize that it is because you've been on default for so long, since childhood. It was literally creating subconsciously. So you've never been any other way. I know I didn't even know there was another way to think. It was just natural for me to think that way. And I had to really educate myself on, oh, how does a secure person think? What are their beliefs? What would they do? I had to really educate myself on that because it was so different to everything that I had naturally just become. And so it's really important that you educate yourself on that. So this channel will have loads and loads of educational content for you on this subject. So hit the subscribe button if you haven't done already. So another thing that you can do with this is journaling. Journaling can really help you with this. Write down your thoughts and your feelings when you feel triggered. Journaling was like a game changer for me, and it's why I recommend it to all of my clients because your anxiety will create thoughts and stories that are simply not true. It's just a way to, you know, for you to survive. It doesn't, it's not helping you, it's sabotaging you. So by writing them down, it will help you to get them out of your mind where it can feel really overwhelming, and it will help you to see them for what they really are. And it will also allow you to reframe them to positive thoughts that will feel so much better and stop you from self-sabotaging. It will allow you to see it for what it really is and be grounded in reality rather than the fears that are going on in your mind that are creating scenarios and stories that aren't happening. So I really, really, really recommend you to start journaling. It's really, really, really life changing. Now, the second thing I really recommend you do is that you learn self soothing techniques. And I wish I had even known what this was when I had an anxious attachment style, because it would have helped so much. The truth is that trauma lives in your body. So that anxious feeling in your body when you're triggered, and why it's so hard for you to control, it's hard for you to control your overthinking, and it's hard for you to stop feeling so anxious, is because your nervous system is triggered. It's seeing a threat and it's triggered. And if you learn these techniques, it will help you to soothe your nervous system so that you can think more clearly. And it means that you won't rely on others to soothe you. So, for instance, I'm sure you might have experienced this. Perhaps you're in a relationship with someone, you like someone, and maybe they pull back for a second, or maybe you've had a little bit of an argument or something that like that happens, and you're feeling this anxiety in your trigger in your body, sorry. And what it will make you do is it will make you chase after them to close that gap. You'll start sending lots of texts, please, 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 please. And you're doing that because you're trying to soothe your anxiety, you're trying to soothe your nervous system. But I'm sure I don't need to tell you it doesn't work. It actually ends up making it so much worse. It pushes them away, and it doesn't feel good for you. I get it, I've been there. And actually it's because your nervous system needs to be regulated and soothed. So it can, if you learn to do that for yourself, then it will stop you doing those situations. Like, it will stop you chasing, it will stop you, you know like, giving in to what your fear is telling you to do and sabotaging relationships. You'll be able to ground yourself. So this could look like deep breathing, for instance. Breathwork is incredible. Meditation, EFT tapping is amazing, or like grounding exercises. There are lots of different ways. So find a way that works for you and make it part of your lifestyle. And think of it as like giving yourself the reassurance that you're actually seeking from others. You're learning to give it to yourself. That is a game changer for anxious attachment style. Now, the third thing would be to work on building your self-esteem, your self-worth. When you value yourself, you are less likely to base your worth on someone else's approval, which is everything we do as an anxious attachment style. It's everything that's outside of us. It's always the validation from other people. And we don't validate ourselves, and we don't trust ourselves. And we need to build that trust within ourselves. I know that when I was anxious attached, I didn't trust my own opinion. I needed everybody else's opinion for me to make a decision. And actually now it's like I don't even need to ask anyone for anything, because I can trust myself. But that was a relationship that I had to build within myself, and build that security and that trust, and that self-worth and value, to value my own opinion, for instance. So here's an exercise you can do right now to help you with this. Go and get your journal out, or a notepad or pen, or go and buy a journal if you don't have one and you're feeling inspired to start journaling. And write down a list of, literally a list, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of why you are so valuable, why you are so valuable in your relationships. And I know this sounds like, what, really? But it's so important that you do that, because you don't even realize that, of course, you're so valuable, because you're just looking at everyone else and you're putting everyone else on a pedestal, and actually you are so valuable. And it's important that you turn that inwards and see that for yourself. So and this might be a bit difficult, it might be a bit tricky for you to you know, if you're not used to speaking to yourself or seeing yourself in that way, I get it. It can be difficult, and your negative self inner talk would be telling you, you're not valuable, but you absolutely are. You are valuable right now just because you exist. So you can put that as your number one. And if you do not have many others coming out, that's okay. I just want you to start building your list. Keep reading it every day and adding to your list. Literally, add to it, read it, reread it every day. You will start to see ways that you are valuable after all, and it will start to build your self worth. So, another thing that you can do is when you're admiring something about someone else, like, oh, they're so smart, oh, they're so funny, they're so kind, they're so loved, they're all these things. Admire that about yourself. Add it to your list because you are these things too, and it's only because you are looking for that external validation from outside of you, and you are putting other people on a pedestal, that you are missing these things about yourself, because you are all these things too. So just start building your list, start reading it every day, and just start looking for ways that you can add to your list. And that is definitely going to help, that repetition of realizing that. And the fourth and final thing is seek support. Anxious attachment style is a trauma response, which is why it's not that easy to just stop being triggered and overthinking. Like, I wish I could just do that for you guys. And it's done. It takes work to reprogram your mind and body. And working with somebody that's a specialist in this area can really help you to shift these patterns so much faster so that you can have the relationships you deserve. And, you know, it's hard. Anxious attachment style is painful, and you don't need to have it for any longer. So just seek support, do what you need to do to reprogram that as fast as you can, because trust me, it is worth it. And if you're ready to dive deeper, check out my free 90-minute workshop on stop sabotaging relationships with anxiety. I will leave the link in the description. It is the perfect place to start your healing journey. And if you're ready for more, my signature program, Anxious, Secure, in Love program, takes you step by step through the deep inner work to move towards a secure attachment style. I will leave the link in the description below. So you're not broken. I just want you to know that. I know that sometimes it can feel that way. Sometimes you can feel crazy. I get it. Believe me, I get it. That's why I do what I do. And you're also really not alone. I have worked with tons of anxious attachment styles, anxious attachers, and obviously was one myself. And they all experience the same symptoms. I experienced the exact same symptoms. They are just symptoms of your anxious attachment style. They are not you. Healing is possible, and I am here to help you every step of the way. So if this video resonated with you, please hit the like button so that others can find it too. Let me know in the comments which part of the video spoke to you the most. And don't forget to subscribe, because I have so much incredible content coming your way to support you on your journey to secure attachment. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care of yourself. You are worth it.